I was recently reading an article titled, "What Research Says About Forgiveness and Mental Health and Physical Wellbeing." It's by Sydney Walker, and I will link the article in my notes. I don't usually pull straight from something I've read, but I found this article to be remarkable. The article is a summary of some research that is done by three different researchers, and each of them have focused on forgiveness and health for many, many years. Personally, I have found forgiveness to play a huge part in my life, and I've been in this position to forgive egregious things that have happened to me and have been done to me, and I've also had to forgive myself for actions I've taken that I know were wrong or I'm not proud of. On either front, forgiveness, it takes time, it takes effort, and absolutely it takes intentionality. But what happens if we don't take time to find forgiveness? And what happens if we harbor ill will or we seek retribution for what somebody has done to us? I think you're going to be surprised here. And I think when you hear the facts about how it impacts your health, I think you're going to be compelled to want to figure it out and learn how to forgive. Have you ever felt held back by self-doubt, whether it's speaking up in a meeting or connecting with others or simply just believing in your own worth? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm Heather Edwards, Master Certified Life Coach, and my goal is to empower you to step into your most authentic, confident self. Here, you're going to discover practical strategies and powerful insights to help you improve your communication, deepen those relationships, and elevate your self-esteem. And each week, I'm going to guide you through some actionable tips and mindset shifts that are specifically designed to help you break free from fear, show up boldly in every area of your life, and build crazy confidence. Are you ready to stop hiding in the shadows, playing small, and avoiding the spotlight? Grab your favorite pen and a notebook, and let's get to it. By far, the strongest poison to the human spirit is the inability to forgive oneself or another person. This quote is by Carolyn Myss. Turns out there are whole conferences that are given on forgiveness. Who knew? There's a ton of research out there that's been done over the years on forgiveness and how it impacts our relationships, our physical health, and even our mental health. But the results really do support not harboring the pain that you have or ruminating over something that happened against you or staying furious over something someone said or something they did. Staying mad at yourself or someone else and not letting it go, it's important that you don't do this. And during this episode, I'm going to tell you why. First, we have to speak about the general definition of forgiveness. So the article that I'm referring to throughout most of this episode defines forgiveness as replacing ill will toward an offender with good will. And then if you go search the dictionary, I pulled the Merriam Dictionary definition, and that definition for forgiveness is to cease to feel resentment against something or someone. It doesn't define forgiveness to excuse or to forget what someone else has done. So if you're sitting here listening in and you have something on your heart and you are just trying to figure out how you're going to do it, don't worry. You don't have to excuse someone or forget what they've done to you. I personally have forgiven many people in my life for harm that they've done, but I haven't forgotten, right? You don't forget what happens. But it doesn't mean I trust them and I put myself in their harm way if I forgive them. It simply means that I've made a decision, I've made a conscious decision to forgive. Because forgiveness truly doesn't erase what you've learned during the experience, right? So what you've learned can still be used as a guide for your actions moving forward, even if you've chosen to forgive someone or yourself. They both can exist at the same time. So that is very important to remember. So what are the benefits for forgiveness? Because that's why you're here. Let's explore what the experts say. And I'm just going to list them. I know it's going to sound silly or whatever, but I'm just going to list them. I pulled them from the article. And again, I'm going to link this article in my show notes. I even am going to link some other resources I found during this research myself. And I think you'll really enjoy it if you're someone who is on this path to do more work on forgiveness yourself. So what do the experts say? Why forgive. One, it's good for your health. That is a general broad statement, and I'll talk more about what those things are. People who are more forgiving have less cognitive decline. Yes, they over time and as they get older, people who are more forgiving during their lives, they don't have the same rates of dementia and Alzheimer's, believe it or not. The other thing that research shows is that you may live longer. If you're a person who practices forgiveness, you may live up to 50% likely to live 2 to 5 years. So that's pretty significant, right? By years to live 2 to 5 years longer than someone else who doesn't practice forgiveness. Overall, people who practice forgiveness live happier and greater life satisfaction. So what they mean by that is that you're just more carefree, you feel more freedom, and you just have more life satisfaction in general. So not dealing with specifics or defining happiness, but just overall, people who responded were enjoying life at a higher rate. You experience more calmness if you practice forgiveness. You have improved sleep. And if you're someone who experiences insomnia, who has ruminating thoughts at night, this one is for you. If you're ruminating over something that happened at work with a person that you don't get along with or a person who has treated you wrong, you may find some benefit in going through a process to give forgiveness to that person that you're having a problem with. It can help you sleep longer. Reduce depression and anxiety, which this makes sense to me. If you're constantly frustrated, ruminating, or blaming yourself even, you can find yourself in a depressed state with high anxiety. So this completely makes sense to me. So reducing your depression and anxiety, if you decide that you want to forgive more, it's a great reason to do it. The other is having less anger-induced heart failure. Well, let me just say I had no clue heart failure was at all tied to forgiveness. It does kind of make sense also, because if you're in anger or frustration all the time, and anger is associated with higher blood pressure, higher stress in your body, holding stress in your body, so you're contracting your muscles, that is happening when you are having a lot of anger. And if you're not releasing that, if you're not letting go of that and you're holding on to it, that makes a lot of sense too. Better social relationships, if you have forgiveness for other people and you can allow other people to be themselves and learn how to forgive them when they make mistakes or they treat you wrong and hit a reset, oftentimes you have better social relationships. And as that came out of my mouth, I want to reiterate here, I am not talking about someone who's abusing you or someone who's hurting you repetitively or someone that's dangerous to be around. Yes, you can forgive those people, but it doesn't mean you have to stay in that situation. So please don't assume what I'm saying by better social relationships is, oh, just forgive them and you can move on and everything will be okay. There are some situations that reconciliation is not necessary. Forgiveness can be done without the reconciliation portion of the forgiveness, if that makes any sense. The other thing is that trauma symptoms are reduced when we choose forgiveness. So this is not an all-inclusive list, but this is the list that was given in this article. And I was kind of blown away by how much of your health is impacted by not forgiving and by holding on to things. I kept researching after I found this and found that holding grudges and forgiveness can be a problem or instigate fibromyalgia. It can increase your cortisol and your stress. Of course, we've talked about the stress piece. It can also lower your immune function and it can destroy your self-esteem. The confidence girl here, I want you to have every reason to have a high self-esteem, and forgiveness actually helps you enhance your self-esteem. So I don't know about you, but I feel like all of this is compelling and it leans me toward figuring out how to forgive things that in the past maybe I wasn't willing to forgive, or maybe I didn't understand how to forgive. And even with myself, there are a few things that I hold on to sometimes. And I'm in the process of going about forgiving myself and forgiving others for any resentments or any things that I haven't released yet. I'm excited to tell you that because I'm on this path and because I really believe it is impacting confidence and self-esteem for me and for you, I have found 2 evidence-based protocols that were very interesting and I think might help you too. I already work with clients to work through forgiveness and just helping them let go of things that trigger them because of their dirt, doubts, insecurities, resistance, and triggers. That's something I currently do in my practice with helping clients. And I find it very exciting to find new tools that I can integrate when I coach clients as well. So I'll do that. If you happen to be someone who wants help letting go, learning how to forgive, just sign up for coaching and we can work through that together. And of course, as always, those links will be in the show notes that you can do that. Let me share the protocols that I found with you because I think that they might be helpful for you because they have been helpful for me. So the first evidence-based protocol I found was developed by Everett Worthington, and it's a 5-step method and he calls it REACH. It's, oh gosh, what do you call that? Where you use the letters to help you learn. During this research and looking over REACH, I actually found his website. And the great news about that is that his website is loaded with resources. There's workbooks, there's like this 86-page directory to understand his process of REACH better. So I'm going to highlight it and talk about it, but I'm also going to link his website with access to his free resources so you can tap into that as well. REACH is, the R stands for recall the hurt. So essentially what you're doing is you're facing the fact that you've been hurt. You've decided not to be snarky, nasty, or hurtful is what he puts in there, not to treat yourself like a victim, which is hard to do sometimes, and not to treat the other person as a jerk. So that is the R of his protocol, recall the hurt. E is empathize with your offender. Empathy is putting yourself in the other person's chair and pretend that the other person is sitting there in that empty chair across from you. Talk to him or her, pour your heart out. When you've had your say, you sit in his or her chair. So you're going back and forth. Talk back to the imaginary you in a way that helps you see why the other person might have wronged you. This will just help you build a little bit of empathy. And I always say this is like you're putting yourself in their shoes. What might they have seen? What might you have reacted to? You're basically looking for what you might be missing or how it looks different from their side of the coin. The A is altruistic gift. Forgive them as an unselfish, altruistic gift. And this, I think, is probably one of the most difficult parts, right? Because here you're just choosing to give something without deserving it. Because when we are in a frustration standpoint with someone, we think they don't deserve it. So to help you want to give the gift of forgiving, try to remember when you wronged someone and that person forgave you. Or if you're a person of faith, Jesus forgave us, God forgives us, and we don't deserve it. By forgiving altruistically, you can actually give that same gift to someone else who hurt you in the future. So keep all those things in mind. When you're at this A part, the altruistic gift, you're going to forgive as something that is, you're being unselfish. You're not holding on to all the pieces that you want to hold on to. You're choosing to do this part of it. The C is commit. Once you have forgiven, you're going to write a note to yourself, something as simple as, today I forgave Heather for hurting me. This helps forgiveness last. It helps you reinforce it. It helps you see it and it's outside of you and it just helps kind of with that impression. H is hold on to forgiveness. The self-adjust notes of commitment above, what we did just this last step above us, is helping us because we will almost surely, no doubt, that you're going to be tempted to doubt that we really forgave. We're going to constantly revisit it, or maybe we think about it again, or maybe we just are struggling inside to really let it go. But we can reread our notes that we made so we can forgive and that we did forgive. So that is the protocol REACH from Everett Worthington. And there are so many more resources he has available. I will link those again. They will be in the show notes if you want to explore that more. The second protocol, Robert Earnright's model, is actually going to help you have deeper healing, lower cortisol and stress, and enhances prefrontal cortex activity. 4 phases, and they're super simple. 1, uncovering phase. You're going to face the pain's impact on your life. 2, decision phase. Choose forgiveness intellectually first. 3, is your work phase. You're going to reframe cognitively, challenge automatic thoughts, and build empathy, which, by the way, is what I do very well with my clients. This is the part we spend a lot of time in together when I use my DIRT model, is I'm helping people reframe their cognitive defaults. And that's what Robert actually considers his work phase. Similarities here in both of them, but his last phase is also the deepening phase, finding meaning, commit daily, and release triggers. Again, they're overlapping with some of the things that I already do. I also use journaling and thought guidance as ways to help myself and others reframe their thought patterns. And if you're someone who's stuck with rumination, fear, stress, you can really work through that with my DIRT method too. Robert's model is there with the 4 steps, and then you have the other REACH protocol. And then, of course, the one that I want you to come do is sign up with me and we'll do my DIRT method. And really with the DIRT method, we uncover your doubts, insecurities, resistance, and triggers, and we can tie that into forgiveness. So my method has been great. It's just a roadmap, and it helps my clients that really have uncovered patterns and behaviors that they want to change. And maybe they've been stuck on them for a while and need some help. So that's what that is. Like me, you're finding that there is a newfound reason to focus on forgiving, because it really can impact your health, it impacts how long you live, and it impacts how you are in relationships. There's so many different things that it impacts in your life. Try not to hold on to things and be willing to forgive yourself and to forgive others, because it's clearly worth it. And one could argue, not only is it worth it, but it's actually free. It's something you could do without spending money. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to forgive someone or yourself. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope sharing my learnings this week has been helpful for you, because I am working on a few things myself and it's been useful for me. So have a great week and come back next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a blast. I would love for you to do me a huge favor and either go leave a rating or a review. And if you really love the podcast or you've learned anything at all, please pass it on to a friend or a family member that might enjoy the podcast as well. That's how I grow, and that's how I'm able to continue bringing you content. If you are interested in coaching, just go to thecrazyconfidencecoach.com. You can sign up for a free discovery call there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you next Tuesday so we can build our crazy confidence together. Love you big.